Now, Provost Welsh will introduce the candidate for the Honorary Doctorate of Humane Letters. Dr. Welsh.
The university presents the honorary degree, Doctor of Humane Letters, to individuals whose service has resulted in significant contributions to higher education, the community, to his or her field of endeavor, or to society in general. Today, Towson University recognizes Mr. Frank Bramble. Madam President, it is my honor and privilege to present Mr. Bramble for the awarding of the degree, Doctor of Humane Letters. I ask Regent Thomas Slater to escort Mr. Bramble to the center podium.
Frank Bramble Sr. is a former vice chairman of the MBNA Corporation and is widely known for his business acumen, his commitment to public service, and range of charitable and philanthropic interests. Mr. Bramble has served Towson University in numerous roles, including adjunct professor, mentor, and judge in the College of Business and Economics adaptation of NBC's hit show The Apprentice, and member of the Towson University Board of Visitors. Mr. Bramble is a member of the Board of Directors of the Bank of America Corporation, chairing the corporation's Enterprise Risk Committee. He is also the Vice Chairman of the Archdiocese of Baltimore School Board, and Pope Benedict XVI recently named him a Knight of St. Gregory. Mr. Bramble's unwavering commitment to public service led him to an extensive record of public service with organizations such as the American Heart Association, the Arthritis Association, the Boy Scouts of America, and the Hippodrome Foundation. He is a former member of the boards of directors of Constellation Energy Group, the University of Maryland Medical System, the Downtown Partnership of Baltimore, and the past chair of the Greater Baltimore Committee. Mr. Bramble, in recognition of your public service and innumerable contributions to our community and to our university, it is my distinct privilege to confer upon you the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters. Congratulations.
Madam President Lusky, Provost Welsh, Mr. Slater, thank you very much for this honorary degree. I hold this university close to me because it provides a value-based education. In other words, it gives people of some economic challenges, lower middle-income people, an opportunity to provide for you, for their children, an excellent value-based education. What Towson University does is extraordinarily important to our city, to our state, and to our country. It also reminds me of my roots. I attended school here. I did not graduate from here, unfortunately. In fact, I didn't graduate from anywhere, so it's pretty awesome that I have an honorary doctorate. What can I say? This is a great country. My sister graduated from the College of Education here. My brother-in-law attended here as a math major until his senior year when he became ill. But even 20 years later, he still reflects on what a great place this was and how much it meant to him. My best friend graduated from Towson University and has given back to the school in so many ways. And my oldest son, who is here today, graduated from the College of Liberal Arts. So you know what? Towson University rocks. As the Madam President mentioned, I also had the opportunity over a few years to teach here as an adjunct instructor. And I want to thank Dr. Kanama and Dr. Lawrence for their many kindnesses and support of me through that process. And at one point, I actually thought I was pretty good because one of my daughters mentioned to me there's something called, I don't know if I have it exactly right, is it Rate My Professor? Is that the online thing? So, you know, with my tremendous academic background and deep teaching, I decided to go online and look at that. And there were some entries and, you know, how difficult was your class? How interpersonal were you? How good were you? You know, all the stuff. And then there's a chili pepper. And I had one chili pepper. So I go home to my wife and I say, Maggie, I want you to look at this thing. Look at, and you know, forget about the education, forget about the difficulty. I have one chili pepper, and she let me enjoy it for about a minute, and she said, well, Frank, calm down. That was one of your daughters. So today, as well as many of my colleagues have, I congratulate each and every one of you graduates for this great accomplishment. Please don't understate what you have accomplished. But I now challenge you. I have three things on my mind, and they are perpetual gratefulness, some of which you heard earlier from our two graduates speakers. Do the work is the second thing, and always be willing to compromise is the third thing. As you address your next steps in the exciting life that lies before all of you, I urge you to practice, whenever you can, perpetual gratefulness, doing the work, and being willing to compromise. Perpetual gratefulness means to be thankful throughout your entire life for your blessings. And they do vary from person to person to person, and some are very similar and some are exactly the same. But they exist for all of you. And each one of you graduates, you need to focus on your blessings perpetually. I do think that we as a society really do need to get over ourselves. We should be thankful, perpetually thankful. For example, for those who love us and for those we love. For the fact that we live in an operating democracy, even with all our issues. Can you imagine, and I'm sure you know, that there are so many places in this world where people wake up just as a distant dream thinking, could I actually be free? And you also need to be perpetually grateful that as of today you will become alumni of this excellent university. Because I believe if you live your life that way, the challenges you face, some of which we heard today that will be extraordinary, have already been extraordinary. And the difficulties that we will all face in our time will weigh less heavily on you. And I think even more importantly, you will be better able to make a contribution to our society and to our world. Secondly, do the work. And I'm not just talking about schoolwork. I'm not talking about your job. I'm not talking about your future job. I'm talking about the work of life. It sounds simple, but it's not so easy. Too many of us complain about the work of life. We delay doing our job in the work of life. We put it off. or we do it sloppily. And when we do that, we don't feel good about ourselves. So I urge you, as you move forward in your personal and professional lives, put as much energy, real energy, as you possibly can into the work at hand, because your efforts really matter. They not only matter to you personally, but they matter to all of us, as was mentioned earlier, because they represent in large part the contribution that we make to our society. And finally, be willing to compromise. Let me give you an example. In the political arena, personally, I'm less concerned about whether someone is liberal, moderate, conservative, or extremes on either end. I'm much more interested in why they hold their beliefs, and I respect them for their beliefs, even if they're different than mine, as long as they are well thought out and they are committed. I admire them for their thoughtfulness and for taking a stand. There is a song, and in that song, I'll quote, it says, "If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything." So when I talk about compromise, I'm not talking about changing what you believe in. What I'm talking about is recognizing that with compromise, and only compromise, does progress come. So for our democracy to work, for your professional careers to work, for your personal lives to work, you must be willing to compromise. And on this point, I will not compromise. Progress only occurs through compromise. Our United States of America, this great melting pot, is the greatest example of this. People who have been married for 50 years, for example, and I bet there are some in this audience, they understand compromise. And it goes on and on and on. So I recognize and I admire people who strongly stand for their beliefs, but in many cases we need to be willing to modify our positions for the greater good. So perpetual gratefulness. Do the work and be willing to compromise. I congratulate all of you graduates, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bramble.